also Lyon, whatever we've done in Europe, whatever our other sides have done in Europe, there is still a fear of coming to this country and playing an English side on its own ground. So whichever side overcomes that fear first, I think will go through in this tie.
Lyon, of course, beat Lazio, which was a good victory in the last round. Now, Alan, who's the key man, do you think, for Forest in this match tonight?
I think Brian Roy, for me, a great player. 2 good feet, great balance, goes past defenders on either side, he scores goals, he makes goals, but more importantly, he gives them something extra in the final third of the pitch. All depends how fit he is. He missed the game Saturday, he has got a knee problem. I think it's imperative he's 100% fit.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. So the action due to start in a moment or two. So let's now join Trevor Brooking, and first, John Mott.
Thanks very much, Des, and good evening. It's some 17 years since I remember watching European Cup football here with Brian Clough, but let's check on the modern Nottingham Forest team, which manager Frank Clark selected fairly late today. In the end, number 4 Colin Cooper and number 10 Brian Roy both passed fitness tests, but Jason Lee did not. So at number 9, the Italian Andy Solenzi starts only his second game for Forest. A third foreigner, Alfinger Haaland, is on the bench. He was standing by to replace Cooper, whose mystery virus, according to Frank Clark, was very much over-dramatised.
A traditional 4-4-2 for Forest, and certainly Cooper and Chettle will play an important part, and let's hope they have got over that drubbing at the weekend.
Yes, and as for Lyon, well, their goalkeeper, Pascal Olmeta, passed a fitness test just 15 minutes before kick-off, would you believe? Number 3, Marcello, a Brazilian, is Lyon's only foreign player, and the danger man is 21-year-old Florian Maurice at number 9, the top goal scorer.
Well, Maurice, as you say, is a scorer at number 9, but probably just behind him, youngster number 10, Julie, is an exciting young player, very influential against Lazio, and I'll be keeping an eye on him in particular.
Here's the Hungarian referee, Sandor Puhl, who was in charge of the England-Switzerland match last Wednesday, and he's about to start this UEFA Cup third round, first leg. There was some real drama in the Olympique Lyonnais camp before the kick-off. The goalkeeper was given special UEFA dispensation to delay his fitness test until about 8:45. I've never seen that happen before. The Forest officials weren't very happy about it, but the UEFA delegate said it was okay. That's Mark Crossley in goal for Forest. And that was Moulin, who's number 5, is marking Wone early on, it would seem. Here's Andy Solenzi, Bart Williams, and Des Little on the far side for Forest. Solenzi, who went down, play on. Forest well aware that Auxerre played well here in the last round and were unlucky not to win by general consensus. And this French team, remember, beat Lazio in the last round. So there's some pedigree out there. This is Bart Williams for Forest. And now it's Rouen, number 6 for Lyon, to Julie, who's playing just behind the main striker. Neat control, play to feet. This is the French way. Number 7 here, Sylvain Deplace, very much a playmaker. And he's got Moulin moving up on the right, number 5. Ball was out.
Yeah, very patient build-up, and I think that's how we find most opposition from Europe will play the away leg. They like to try and get the counter-attack, and it's very important, I think, for Forest and the home team now to try and get that initiative, but to get the balance, of course, between scoring a vital goal but not conceding anything and giving the opposition that away leg goal.
That was Gemmell for Forest. Now Stone. The atmosphere really does remind me of those European nights here in the late 70s and early 80s when Nottingham Forest won the Champions Cup 2 years running. And Frank Clark, over the last 2.5 years, has followed very much in the tradition of his former mentor Brian Clough in the style of football that Forest try and play. Here's Roy, and this is Bart Williams to Little. Steve Stone. And now Gemmell. Little. Stone wants it played inside. Roy and Selenzi waiting in the middle. There's Selenzi. This is his big chance. The former Torino striker. It's only the second time he's been in the starting lineup since he joined Forest.
I mean, if you look at his height, I mean, he does dominate that penalty area, and also if you look at the goalkeeper on Meta, who's quite a character, and that's why they wanted him to play. But when he went past me in the tunnel, he was up to my shoulder. He's not very tall, and I would have thought some crosses might question that height.
Here's Moulin. And this is Maurice. Not very well placed in the French league at the moment, Lyon. Their form there has been patchy, but they lift their game, it seems, when it comes to Europe. On the far side there, Deveau, number 8. Roy. This is Duplass. Inside to Stéphane Roche, number 11. Oh, it's a good move, and Maurice! Oh, they appealed for a corner. Maurice who had the shot, and it was a good move, this.
Bit of miscontrol by Julie, actually wrong-footed everyone. It just clipped Shettle, and that's given the corner.
The number 2 will come up for this. Sassus, danger man at set plays. And Roy is there too, who's also got height. But that was of no danger at all to the Forest defence. Here's Brian Roy. Now Forest questioning whether to push out or not. They didn't, they stayed deep, and that's Stuart Pearce. Only twice has a French club knocked an English club out of European competition. So the form book very much with Forest, but they've got to make the most of this first leg. Williams. Cooper. It's a late decision as regards him as well, whether he would play tonight. This is Pearce.
Well, if it's not on short, you've got to have somebody running behind that fullback. Stuart Pearce not too pleased with his options there. I think Brian Roy's an important player, of course, this evening. We want to know how fit he is. He's got knee trouble at the moment. Frank Clark was saying beforehand they're hoping he gets through this evening. If so, then they'll keep him and he'll play against Manchester United at the weekend. But he won't, in fact, play in the second leg because he has got a bit of cartilage trouble that keeps swelling up after each game.
Yes, well, that may well be that Selenzi will be given a longer opportunity to prove himself. Steve Chettle has gone up for the free kick for Nottingham Forest, wearing number 5. Taken by Cooper. That's aimed at Selenzi, whose nickname in Italy is the paintbrush, because of his unusual size and shape. But might be worth mentioning the fact too that Forest are without Kevin Campbell, their other expensive summer signing from Arsenal. He's hardly played because of a back injury, but I did see him before the kick-off, and apparently he's on the mend. Team trained here yesterday evening and pronounced themselves very happy with the surface. And we are, of course, in one of the stadiums that will be used for the European Championships next summer, the City Ground, Nottingham. This is Julie for Lyon. Loves to run with the ball. Number 10, Maurice in the centre here. I noticed last week at Wembley that this Hungarian referee doesn't get fooled by players that fall, he's very keen to play on unless it's quite an obvious foul. Here's Moulin. Number 4 is Laville. 6 of this team actually came through the youth scheme at Lyon. They're very much a club that produce their own players. Here's Roy. Forward by Pearce. Brian Roy running on. Silenzi's alongside him. Laville. Moulin. This is Cooper. I was going to say nobody troubled Olmeta, but Silenzi threatened to for a moment. Now Roche with Moulin going outside him. Here's Maurice. Little touch to Roche. Roy, Maurice. Roy again. And Steve Stone. That was Brian Roy. Jesus. They played really well in the Olympic Stadium in Rome, Lyon, when they beat Lazio 2-0. Helped a little bit by a missed penalty, that's true, but their football was very organised and very neat. Roche to Maurice and back.
We'd have to say at the moment, Lyon must be delighted at a very easy opening 10 minutes that they've enjoyed at the moment. I mean, Forest very conscious of not conceding that home goal. They're getting so many people back goal side themselves. I think they're too deep and they're not pushing up and really getting in amongst Lyon. At present, the back four of Forest are almost just occupying Maurice, playing one up, as you can see at this stage. And they're knocking it around at the back, but not looking as if they're going to hurt Lyon at present.
The days when we used to frighten overseas teams with our pace and passion in home matches in England have gone, I think. They can all cope now with the mental demands and indeed the physical ones. Bart Williams getting tugged a bit, but he's on his way now. Duplass. Kemmel to Roy.
There was a classic situation there where Roy was surrounded by Lyon defenders. It was almost 6 or 7 against 2. Silenzi and Roy, the only 2 Forest players in the attacking half, and it was very slow from midfield to get forward. I think the whole unit's got to push up and try and pressurise the opposition.
There was a word too from the referee to Sassus, who's already served 1 European suspension at this early stage. Indeed, there are 5 players in the Forest team and 2 in the Olympic Lyonnais side who are on yellow cards from a previous match. Here's Pearce. In comes Stone. So anybody in that little group who steps out of line tonight is in danger of missing the second leg.
See number 8, Deveau, who's taken the throw-in, very much doing a man-to-man marking job on Steve Stone. I wouldn't think his recent performances have gone unnoticed by the French club.
They were watching Forest's 7-0 defeat at Blackburn on Saturday. The sort of spy there was the famous former French international Bernard Lecombe, who's now the sort of number 2 to the manager at Lyon. Here's Brian Roy. Well, that's good running by Stone. Silenzi's in the centre, so is Wone. It's gone beyond both of them. Here's Wone, back to Pearce. Forest need to build again quickly. Bart Williams tries to get Pearce in. No, play on. Good referee, this, in my opinion. Oh, it's a bad pass by Deplace, and it's Selenzi, and Roy's in a good position inside. The ball needed to come in a bit sooner, I think, from Andy Selenzi.
You know, some of his critics say he looks a bit leggy when the ball's at his feet, and naturally he's got that height advantage. Although having played Italian football, you would imagine that that would have improved, but because of the pace of the Premiership, he has found it difficult to adapt, and that's probably why Jason Lee has managed to hold on to his place.
Yes, I think Jason Lee, who's injured tonight, has surprised an awful lot of people here with his form. That long ball by Bart Williams is searching for Brian Roy, and it's away by Sassus. Bart Williams really stretching them there. Wone. That left-hand end, the new stand by the Trent. Here's Brian Roy. Hits the outside of the goal. That's going to be a goal kick. Roy's claiming corner, but he won't get it.
A little bit of close control, and he felt Sassus, his boot clipped the ball, and that's why he went into that near post. Sassus, actually the number 2, who's highly rated. He's only got 1 French cap. He's the only French international in the side, which is unusual when you think Lyon finished runners-up in the league last season and not doing so good this year, although they beat Monaco in their last game. But you would have imagined that they would have more internationals.
Yes, he is the only full cap. Here's Steve Stone. Roy's in the middle. And the goalkeeper comes all the way and shows no sign of the ankle injury which made him so doubtful. Olmeta, 34 years old, quite a character. In fact, he was falling around a little in training last night, which is how he got the injury.
Took that cross well enough. The most encouraging thing, though, is Steve Stone's got beyond the fullback twice. The fullback, just number 8 of O, who's marking it, just ball watched, and he's got behind him and got 2 good crosses in.
So we've been playing for 15 minutes. No score in this first leg. Steve Stone for Forest. I was going to say there might have been then, but here's Stone again. Bart Williams, Pearce. They must keep the momentum going. Cooper. That's a good ball to Des Little. 3 waiting in the middle. Here comes Selenzi. And that's going to be a corner. Forest will settle for that.
The key to that move was Colin Cooper bringing it out from the back. One of my pet hobby subjects, that central defenders have to commit people, and that set up the pass to Little in the corner.
Well, both the central defenders and Pearce have now come up for that corner. And that's Chettle. And then Wone. And Cooper's shot.
Here again, hanging cross, bobbled around. I just wonder whether he might have just touched it on. Ian Wone would have been clear there, but difficult to get the power on the shot on the turn for Cooper.
This is Julie. And ball. Julie is only 19, and they've got high hopes of him. A player who could go on to become an international. Not even in the team about a year. In fact, not quite that. It's an offside decision. Years ago, this club, Olympique Lyonnais, put Tottenham Hotspur out of a European competition. That's going way back to the 60s. Selenzi to Stone. This is Moulin. They had a good win at Monaco on... oh, somebody's boots need changing here. It's Brian Roy who's decided on a different type of footwear at this stage.
Yeah, he's not actually varying the studs. It was funny because he was detailing to one of the young lads what studs he wanted in. He said he wanted them a bit longer at the back and a certain type of stud in the front. So whether he's not followed his rule or what, I don't know, but after 20 minutes he's decided the boot wasn't done well enough.
This is Moulin. So Forest temporarily were reduced to 10. He's back on now. This is Roy. He's got Deveau going down outside him. Here's Maurice. Here's Moulin. I was about to say that they had a good win at Monaco on Saturday, this team, 2-0. Moulin played in that game, and it was a sweet one in a way, really, because Jean Tigana used to be the coach here. At Lyon, until he was succeeded by the present man in charge, Guy Stéphane. This is Roy. Good running by Scott Gemmell ahead of him. They need people from midfield to advance and get ahead of the ball, Forest, if they're going to unlock this defence. This is Pearce. Oh, no, to Stone. Didn't quite go for Silenzi. Goalkeeper saving from Pearce.
Well, as a Stuart Pearce special, you could sense the crowd winding it up. It was superbly struck, and he had to get a touch on Metter, and he did. And unfortunately, the angle then meant Steve Stone had to try and knock it back rather than go for the knock-in.
This is Gemmell with the corner for Forest, but it's a poor one. And it comes back to Bart Williams, who's going to try and find Gemmell again. That's a good ball. Here's Little. First time in, Silenzi closes on the goalkeeper, who punches in a bit of a flat, but gets away with it. And
that is the area where I think they could expose the goalkeeper. If they get them in there where Silenzi is actually looming over him, he did flat and they got contact to it, but he didn't have much control of where it was going.
Bart Williams.
Good cross from Des Little, and as you see, as he goes up, try to get both fists to it, but it could have easily ended up at the feet of Ian Wern. I think if they can get Pearce and Little going down the flanks and getting those crosses in, that would be a key area.
That wasn't a very good delivery by Brian Roy, and Forest just giving it away in one or two positions where they should be keeping it, really. And Marcello, the sweeper, the Brazilian, goes across to deal with Steve Stone. This is Cooper. Well, the crowd is certainly playing their part in this opening period. Oh, that was given away by Little, and it was Roche who took possession. This is Roy. Roche again. Roy's shot hit Gemmell. This is Moulin. And Deplace who slipped.
Not looking particularly incisive at the moment, or that interested in throwing extra numbers forward yet a while. Quite happy just to be goal side and certainly nullify the Forest build-up.
That's aimed at Silenzi. Roy trying to feed off him. I think they're going to have to be more inventive than that, though, because the long ball to Silenzi is pretty predictable, isn't it?
Well, it's predictable, and they've got three defenders there. They've got two man markers, the number 2 Sassus and the number 4 Laville, and then they have 3 the Brazilian as the sweeper, and he's going to pick up all the loose balls, and that's why I think they've got to go down the flanks.
So do I. Here's Roche. This is Bart Williams, and now Gemmell. Silenzi. Pearce in support. One or two players losing their footing on the top surface. Maurice. There's been plenty of rain in Nottingham earlier today, so it will be greasy on top. And that's a decent-looking ball from Scott Gemmell to Brian Roy, and well read by Sassus. Cooper. There's Wone.
Balls round the ground, but a header from outside the 18-yard box should beat any goalkeeper, and that was never any trouble. And as you can see, a cross from that angle and from that depth is quite comfortable for the defending side.
Steve Stone's got that number 8, DeVoe, sticking shirt tight to him. There they are again. Not going to be easy to get by him. Maurice, little touch to Julie. So clever. Until they got in each other's way. Maurice again. Roche. Oh, there's Julie.
Good strike. Number 10, Julie, actually reminds me a bit of Middlesbrough's Jorginho, the Brazilian. He's nothing of it really, 5'3", 4", but as soon as he gets the ball, he loves to run at defenders.
They haven't got much height in attack, have they? Maurice, the number 9, is on the short side, and Duplass, who comes from midfield, the 7, he's small as well, but Roy, the central midfield player, is the tallest man around in their team. Well, look at this, Crossley finally gets it forward towards Brian Roy, but has to get back quickly. The plan is obviously for Sassus to jump with Silenzi and for the sweeper Marcello to just sit 10 yards back and collect the ball if it runs free.
Unless you get in Bart Williams, and really the more likely one is Scott Gemmell running from central midfield beyond Silenzi and Roy. I mean, the Brazilian sweeper Marcello will have a lovely evening and think, well, this is quite nice, I'm looking pretty good here.
This is Julie for Lyon. Maurice is in the centre, so too is Roche now. Oh, that's good skill. Quite a spectacular fall. And the referee is going to his pocket here, and he has shown the yellow card. It's to Cooper, who, fortunately for Forest, was not one of the 5 already on a yellow from previous European games. But he's got one now.
Well, he's beaten by pure skill, wasn't it? Julie just turning, wrong-footing him, and he pulled back his shirt. No really alternative than to be booked.
Duplass will take the free kick for Lyon. Maurice is there.
I think there was a little nudge there. Who's going to dispute that? Look, Maurice, the 9, Stuart Pearce, suddenly sees the danger late, and the old little elbow into the shoulder was enough to put him off.
Yes, you can bet your life there'd have been a shout. That'd have been an incident in the other penalty area. Duplass. Moulin. Roy. Everything along the floor. Roche. Wide of him is Julie on the far side. Here's DeVoe. Duplass. Julie. Still got possession. That's Roy with the shot. It hit Steve Chettle. It's going to come to Moulin. Both these teams have shown already in this competition that sometimes it's more comfortable to play away.
Well, Forest's strength in the Premiership is counter-attacking. Whenever I see them, they're at their best when they're defending, as quite often we saw in some Premiership games at the weekend. Suddenly, when you win control and then break from your own penalty area, that's when you actually create the chances. And it's a bit cagey cat and mouse at the moment.
This is Duplass for Lyon. Robbed by Silenzi. Now it's Wone for Forest. Looking up to see where the support is. It's Bart Williams who loses the ball. Roy who wins it back. Maurice. He went past Stones, though he wasn't there. Julie. Deveau. Roy. Duplass. Now Moulin on this side. They move it around nicely. Question is whether they've got any penetration at the end of it. Silenzi there got a foot in. This is Chettle. Coming up towards the half-hour mark here, and no score in this first leg. Pearce. Brian Roy now makes a run through the centre. But two defenders and a goalkeeper there.
It's an impossible ball from that range, you know, that far out. I mean, for a lot of the build-up, only two home players were in the actual attacking half, and at the moment, it's difficult to see numbers-wise how Forest are going to unsettle Lyon unless they decided to commit one or two extra men forward. I think they're very cautious. Let's be fair, they've lost 7-0 at the weekend. They didn't want to concede a goal in the opening 20 minutes.
This is Moulin for Lyon. And again, the number 5. Julie. This is Brian Roy. Stone with little outside him. Home crowd expectant again until the ball is carelessly given away. And the cheers turn to sighs, which has been very much the story of English clubs in Europe so far this season. But there weren't too many cheers. Largely because we just can't seem to get the ball off some of these teams. This is Roy.
You see there how I think Forest are defending so deep. 8 men letting them play in front of them, not really getting tackles in.
Little. There's Silenzi. Kick against Des Little. This is Roy to Wone. And now it's Gemmell. This is probably where Forest have got their best chance when he gets forward. It's Scott Gemmell. And that was the best opening they've really made. And it comes from a midfield player who actually gets himself into the penalty area.
Hasn't done it much this evening, but he has done well in recent games. I've seen him. He played very well at White Hart Lane, and he's the man that gets forward. He took over, of course, from Lars Bohinen. Didn't hit the shot well there. Was waiting for his place when Bohinen went to Blackburn. He's come in and done exceptionally, but of course played for Scotland last week and very much in their European Championships sort of squad plans.
Yes, well, his father was a distinguished Scottish international, wasn't he? Archie Gemmell. Played in the 1978 World Cup. Here's Scott Gemmell again. Bart Williams. He's trying to get Stone through, but Devoe just lets the ball run.
They've been caught out twice, Devoe. I think his manager would be too pleased if there was a third occasion, and on that time he was already starting to run once Bart Williams looked up and then slotted it in.
There's the Nottingham Forest bench. Liam O'Kane on the extreme left. They'll be reflecting. There haven't been too many shots and saves so far, but then you're not going to get that in European football now. Not in the first leg, when the away team has done its homework so well on the home team. This is Roy. Crossley wanting it on his right foot, and back by Sassus. This is Gemmell. Roy. And now Pearce. To Cooper. Silenzi makes a run, marked by Marcello. Little. Silenzi, it running on to Wone. Moulin gets a foot in. It's come back to Gemmell.
They're defending well, Leon. There's always an extra man there if they manage to get past one. And on occasions, because there's so few options forward, it's taking so long in the build-up play that quite often then Leon have got 7 or 8 goals side against 2 or 3. I think in some way or other, Forest have to push up more and win the tackle more in the Lyon half and then go at them from a much shallower stage of the game. Whereas at the moment, I think the deep build-up play, and they're playing in front of the French side.
Well, the sweeper hasn't been moved yet, has he? He's just waited for the play to come onto him every time. Well, here's Julie to number 11, Roche. Julie again. De Place. That's Roche. Good movement.
Good build-up play, and again it was Chris Bart Williams got caught in possession, and why was he caught in possession? Because one of the back 4 just knocked it into him with him marked, and then it was good little incisive play with 3 or 4 passes, and suddenly they had a shot on goal, which Forest haven't been able to create in their slower build-up.
Here's Gemmell. Well, I remain convinced that he's the key to it. If Gemmell can get into some attacking positions, they may have some chance to disturb what has so far been a very self-assured Lyon rearguard. This is Bart Williams, who's less inclined to get into those positions, but it's a different sort of game. Oh, look at Arnetta. He does love to exhibit his acrobatics, this goalkeeper. I don't ever remember a fitness test taking place at 15 minutes before the game. They seem to go against all the UEFA regulations there, but the gentleman here seemed quite happy with it.
I think that's probably how he injured himself, going for a cross that he didn't need to. I mean, considering he was so late getting past fit, he might as well have just let that go off for a goal kick.
They actually flew another goalkeeper over from France this morning in case they had to promote the number 2, but in the end that didn't become necessary. This is Florian Maurice, number 9, but the referee's already given the throw in there. The ball was out.
it was a foul throw, didn't put it behind his head. And you know, at the moment though, I suppose we have to remember also game Forest won the away leg 1-0, and then it was only goalless here. So that does seem to be the picture, doesn't it? The Liverpool-Bromley game. Bromley got 0-0 at home, and we thought Liverpool were going to get through, and then they got the away goal. So we can't read too much into who's at home or who's away, the way the European games have gone so far this season.
No, it's all changed over the last few years. That this is Julie. There was a time when it was all about getting a home lead and then hanging on away, but now you can often find yourself in better scoring positions when you're the away team. So a free kick to Lyon. Duplass being told to take it back a bit. Sassus is on his way forward. Silenzi's gone back to mark him. Roche is there. Oof, just a touch. Might have sent that in. Crossley keeping his eye on the ball and doing so well.
Good free kick by Duplass. Look behind the defence there. Just needs the faintest of touches. It got it from Pearce, but fortunately not too bad a deflection to make it difficult for Crossley,
who this time does use his more assured left foot to get the ball upfield. And it's all a game of bits and pieces at the moment, and that'll suit Lyon. They've just broken up Forest rhythm where they can, kept the crowd quiet, and got within 5 minutes of half-time with the score still 0-0. And this is Stéphane Roche. Sliding it forward to Maurice, touches it back to Duplass. Maurice again. That's a nice build-up.
Again, just their final shot, so they're on target. They're far enough out and not well enough hit to actually trouble Crossley.
Roy, it's good running from the back. Maurice. It was Deveau who brought the ball out. Maurice who was fouled. It's your old hobby horse there, isn't it? One of the back players carried that ball about 30 yards, and suddenly the field in front of him seemed to open up.
Well, you have to commit the opposition. If they're sort of getting so many people goal side, there's no point in having a back four knocking it into their strength. You've got to bring it until somebody comes to you.
This is Roy with the free kick into the wall. Silenzi dug that one out well, the Italian. He's found Gemmell. Now this is Stone.
It's too slow. You know, they had an extra man there. They've got to run at the opposition. They just knocked a couple of balls square, and suddenly 6 men are back. Scott Gemmell should have carried it then and gone at the defence.
So Steve Chettle, left-footed player, Silenzi. Oh yes, he's got away nicely here, from two of them in fact. But he couldn't reach Stone with the ball, and that's where it all goes wrong. The final pass, here's Maurice. The referee getting involved there, and that was in Forest's favour. It's Bart Williams to Pearce. Stone got past Deveau at last? I don't think so. But he has got the free kick. And that's been taken quickly by Little. Roy, too long.
Final ball's been poor, hasn't it? Even Brian Roy coming on to his more favoured left, finding himself on the right-hand side, but certainly Silencio and Wone very close together, nobody coming in the back, and it's very lopsided. And you know, when you think of old Meta having a late fitness test 15 minutes before kickoff, and he's only had one actual shot on target. That was that Stuart Pearce long-range one, as far as I can remember.
Well, neither goalkeeper's been extended to any great degree, has he, in this first half? This is Gemmell, and chances for strikers almost non-existent, but midfield players have got to get into it more. That was Gemmell, and this is Roche. Deplace. Maurice makes a run right to left, takes defenders with him. Deplace shoots, and the crowd behind that goal, about 1,000 of them from Lyon, were getting quite excited there for a moment, and a few gestures being exchanged between them and the Forest fans.
It's again that long ball, isn't it? Down the channels, but when you've got the sweeper as well as the marker, it's not going to present too many problems, and at the moment there's no variation on that.
Julie. That's a foul given against Scott Gemmell. One of those who has to be a bit careful because of a previous booking. So a free kick to Lyon. Sassus there again, number 2. This is Deveau.
I criticise Forest for the final ball. I shouldn't let that one go and say Lyon's is not that much better, is it? At the moment, the first 45 minutes, which I think was said before, a bit of a stalemate.
Well, you can say that again, because there's going to be no further action. That's the half-time whistle. And Lyon will come off pretty satisfied that they've contained Nottingham Forest, although it should be said that Forest may well play their more effective football in Europe away from home, so it's no great surprise to find that the half didn't contain too many exciting moments. Certainly nothing to trouble either goalkeeper unduly. And we reach the halfway stage at the City Ground in this UEFA Cup third round first leg tie with a score of Nottingham Forest 0, Lyon 0.
Well, I think we half saw a banner there saying, "Are you watching Alan Hansen?" It's an E at the end for future reference, not an O.
I'm watching, Des.
We've all been watching, not entirely attentively, but we've been doing our best to concentrate. It's a chess match at the moment, and John Watson was saying that the French team don't look as though they've got much penetration yet, or we haven't seen it, but neither do Forest, really, do they?
No, I think Forest are very wary about losing the goal. They play a rigid 4-4-2. When you do that, huge responsibility in the front to it. Now, we mentioned Brian Roy at the top of the programme. He's had 1 or 2 nice touches, but he doesn't look 100% fit to me. Silencio, the Italian, has been in and out. But you can talk about systems and formations all you want. For me, you go for the weaknesses in any side. Now, the goalkeeper's done his ankle. He's passed a fitness test sort of 15, 20 minutes before the start of the game. They've hit one cross in, run about his head, and he's flapped it. I think they've got to hit more crosses in.
We'll see that evidence in a minute. Jim, what was your impression of that first half?
Well, the disadvantage, really, I think, of two-leg European football, when everybody is so cagey, they forget that football is meant to be entertaining.
That's the way they do it, Jim.
Yeah, I know, and it's pretty painful at times to watch, but expecting Forest to have more punch at home, I mean, Alan's point of Roy not being 100%, and Silenzi being, I don't think he muddled himself on Nat Lofthouse's game, quite honestly. And so, you know, what's the point of crossing?
Everybody remember Nat Lofthouse?
I mean, he's done lots of good defensive work and has got himself, you know, liked by the crowd in a way for things he's been doing in his own half of the field. But when you want somebody to go in, you know, and whatever happens, get their head on the end of the ball, I mean, he isn't that kind of player.
They might be missing Lee there in that position, aren't they, Alan?
Yeah,
because he plays that kind of way.
I think, as I say, if you put it around about the keeper's head, you've got to go and hit him. You know, just give him a thump. and see if he likes it or not, see if he wants to come back.
See if he likes it up in us. Okay, let's have a look now. Let's have a look at Pearce here and this shot. Why he's in everybody's fantasy football team, because he scores goals from defence.
I mean, it takes a fullback, you know, to produce the first real save. I mean, that was a very good save, injured ankle or not, and Stone, quite correctly, I thought, tried to lay it back because he had, as you'll see, he had a really bad angle. But what Pearce did for England, he attempted to do for Forest. Wonderful left foot he's got, and that is a good save. Left hand, low down, and luckily for the keeper, it ran out to a very bad angle. So he can't do much more there than try and cut it back, Stone. And it came to nothing, as everything else has come to nothing this evening.
Well, the goalkeeper can clearly stop shots, Alan, but your point is that they're not testing him in the air.
That's right, yeah. If he's got a bad ankle, he'll be scared to jump for it. If you go and, as I say, just give him a thump, you know, he won't come back for any more. And Forrest got one decent crossing in the first half, and he flapped it. He could, it's quite conceivable he could have put this in the back of the net. Salensi gets into him. I mean, he's all over the place there.
He hit him with his arm.
I can't understand why they never repeatedly threw them in. Well, it's coming a long way. It's given time for Salensi to get in the box, and as I say, that could have gone anywhere.
Well, perhaps I feel those sort of crosses is not the ploy with Salensi up front instead of Lee.
What height is he? He's 6 feet plus.
He's a big lad.
He's a big lad. Just throw them in.
Yeah.
I think they've got to vary their tactics a bit more.
He's got to have the intention to get his head on the end of the ball, and I mean, he was turning his back on that and doing that with his arm.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't got any power up front really, and it's got to be the midfield players.
He's played for Italy.
He played once, and their judgment was very right after that occasion, I think, on what we've seen in tonight.
There are 400 players injured that weekend.
That's a bit cruel. Let's have a look at Gemmel's effort now.
Yeah, and again, this was the best move here. It showed that they're not invincible, this side. He decided to go it alone. Nice little touch inside. Said, right, there's space there in front of me. Why not threaten their goal? And in the end, it was Roy who was to the right of him. He doesn't quite catch it as he wants. And Roy, who managed to find space on the right there.
Roy makes a good run here. Roy makes a great run because he takes the defender away and allows Gemmel to come inside. A nice little bit of skill. Roy runs on the outside. The space opens up. He comes in. Perhaps he should go on his left foot. But he takes it on his right. A decent opportunity.
Didn't catch it well.
Well, you know, I mean, Forest could draw 0-0 here, and they're quite capable of getting a 1-0 victory away, which is precisely what they did against the French team in the last round.
Forest like hitting in the break. They like soaking up the pressure and hitting the break. They really can't do that here. Because of their own supporters on the ground, they've got to go and give it a bit of a go.
That's right. It's not a lot of fun for the viewers if there are no goals, but we'll see what happens in the second half. Now, let's give you the Premiership scores from tonight, and here they are. Arsenal 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2 at half-time. Dennis Bergkamp gave Arsenal the lead after 3 minutes. David Hurst and Chris Waddle turned things around for Wednesday. It'd be a bad week for Arsenal if they were to lose that one, having lost against Tottenham. And it's Middlesbrough 0, Tottenham 0 at the moment. They're into the second half in those matches. Let's bring you the goals from 2 Premiership games that have already taken place this week.
It's towards Dikio. Away by Telfer. Barker, yes! Simon Barker with a sweet volley gives Queen's Park Rangers the lead. Coventry didn't really clear their lines. Telfer's header was a bit straight and a bit short. Barker's finish was a bit tasty. Already's in trouble here. This is Impey. And Gallen. Oh, Grizovic did well. Decisive goalkeeping. Some rather indecisive finishing, in truth, by Kevin Gallen. Impey just a little off balance. And the bounce wasn't the kindest. He needed instant control. And Grizovic was there in a flash. Richardson again. That's a good ball, quite literally inch perfect for Solarco. Dublin's in the middle. Dion Dublin 1-1. It has been on the cards. Coventry level with 15 minutes to go. And what a fine goal. Kevin Richardson's pass right on the button, and John Solarco's had a lively match, providing the kind of cross that Dion Dublin dreams about. Aston Villa's record at the Dale has been wretched in recent seasons. Haven't won here in 13. Here's Dwight York holding off the challenge. Here's Taylor. Oh, Johnson's waiting to slip the leash. He's inside the defence. Besson's off his line. It's 1-0 Villa. And my, oh my, Johnson's third goal in 3 games. And that ball from Taylor caught Southampton's defence absolutely square. Southampton still battling gamely to try and get something in this game. Aimed at the back post where Shipley waits. Good header. Oh, Bosnich off the line. And Southampton have appealed that the ball had crossed the goal line, but it's not given. Shipley up really well at the back post and directs the header down past Ekiog. Now, did he claw it out before the line or after? It certainly looks like it's over.
Now, let's just remind you of the next programme in our series on the history of European football, in which Nottingham Forest are well represented.
Going out the dressing room and you'd say, well, remember it'll be harder next year.
We moved down to Munich to play the final. He wasn't with us. I think he was in Greece on holiday with his family. He turned up, said, I've had a great holiday, lads. I'm going back tomorrow. I want to go back as the European Cup winner. This is how we're going to do it.
I did feel that we had a terrific spirit going at the time. And it's something that you've got to have, I feel, if you're going to win things at top level. That heartbeat at the club, which once it's gone, then you tend to struggle.
Brian Robson had brought us back into the game with a magnificent goal. And if you'd had £1 and it was the only £1 you had in your pocket for the rest of your life, and you had to spend it on the team to win you another £1, at that moment you would have put that £1 on England. Because we were the better side at that stage.
And I think the biggest thing that sticks in the memory more than anything was the fact that I don't think many thought that we'd beat them in the final. And I think their players thought that as well. I think they were a little bit overconfident.
I think if I've any regrets at all, it's the fact that having had 3.5 years or more in that job, that once we haven't qualified, it's as if I never had that 3.5 years. In other words, any experience that I may have picked up is never called upon. It's like 3.5 years of saying, well, what did I do it for?
And that programme you can see on Friday, as you see, it's called Football Thing and Thing. And that's at 7:15 on BBC Two. Now, 2 weeks on Sunday, it's Sports Review of the Year, when your votes will decide the sports personality of the year. And here are some of the leading candidates.
The greatest jump in athletics history.
A very important and warmly applauded innings at a crucial stage of this series.
Maximum in crucible history.
He's done it. Dominic Cork has a hat-trick.
The winner and new. Bruno's done it.
That programme's a fortnight on Sunday. I hope you'll be with us for that. If you wish to vote, we'd love you to, for the personality of the year. That's how you do it. Send a postcard in, put your choice, just one name on it, please. Just one name as far as your choice is concerned, but your name as well, and your address, and that's the address to which you send it. We'd be pleased to receive your votes as usual. Now, here at the City Ground, if you've just tuned in, it's Nottingham Forest 0, Lyon of France 0 at the moment. Here's a man who might have been able to score had he been fit enough, Kevin Campbell, who, of course, Forest signed from Arsenal.
Kevin, what do you think Frank Clark and the Forest coaches will be saying to the players in the dressing room?
I think the gaffer will be saying, you know, we got up the tempo a bit more and keep them in their half and get the crosses in, really.
I think during that first half at times it looked like Forest just need to up it a couple of gears.
Yeah, I think, you know, being the first leg is, you know, a bit more cagey than, say, if it was the second leg. But as I say, I think the gaffer's going to really have a go at them and tell them to go looking for the advantage and take a win.
Given the situation, putting some more crosses in and putting some pressure on the French side could pay some dividends.
Yeah, it can pay some dividends. I think the goalkeeper's maybe a bit erratic sometimes, and he hasn't really been tested, so I think we've got to test him in the second half.
Thanks for talking to us. You're back soon?
Yeah, very much soon. I've got a game on Friday, and hopefully I'll be back in the next week or so.
Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Kevin talking to Ray Stubbs there, of course. Now, FA Cup replays are on tonight. Here are the latest scores. Well, Ashford-Bognor is a late kick-off power failure there. Brighton 2, Canvey Island 0. Brighton appointed Jimmy Case as their new manager before the game. Good luck, Jimmy. Bristol City 0, Bournemouth 1. Enfield 1, Newport Isle of Wight 1. Gillingham 1, Wickham 0. Sutton 1, Kidderminster 1. Wigan 3, Runcorn 2. Woking 1, Barnet 1. And Wrexham 0, Hull 0. These are latest scores. Remember, they're into the second half. And let me just tell you that Arsenal have equalised against Sheffield Wednesday. It's 2-2 at the moment. We're getting straight back to the action with John Motson.
Yes, and perhaps we'll get a goal or two here in the second half. It's interesting hearing the lads there talking about their analysis of the first half, Trevor. It's come to something if our best chance of seeing a goal from an English team is thumping a goalkeeper who's got a bad ankle. I'm hoping we could sort of find Forest doing it rather more artistically than that.
Oh, you mean the up and at them? Yeah, it's not the obvious coaching term. I think the main emphasis was you've got to pressurise them and make Lyon feel as if you know, they're hurried into making mistakes. At present, it's all too cushy and too comfortable for them.
Nottingham Forest, whose long unbeaten run in the Premiership ended in spectacular fashion from a Blackburn point of view on Saturday, but they are unbeaten here for 10 months at the City Ground, the last defeat being at the hands of Crystal Palace in the FA Cup last January. So now we have Lyon playing from right to left in the second half, and immediately there's Julie. This is Salenzi. Now Stone. Gemmell. Now Steve Stone has gone down injured, and there's quite a family connection here tonight because Steve Stone's grandfather is watching this match in Lyon, where he lives. Here's Gemmell. So presumably he'll need plenty of tickets for the second leg, Steve Stone. He's got family living there. I think he just got a bang on the ankle there, the England man. That's cleared by Marcello for Lyon. Scott Gemmell, but again it's broken up. Julie to Roy. And this is Marcello. He made a present of that to Salenzi and he gave it straight back. Julie playing for the free kick and not getting it. Here's Stone. Now Roy. And Sassus goes, well, I was going to say he goes past two of them. In fact, he went past four of them before he lost the ball. And he's back now in his defensive position. This is Pearce. Goodness, that was careless. Julie. And that was too. By Roche to Deveau. Here's Roche again.
definitely not any improvement, is there, in the first couple of minutes there? I mean, it was either side got the ball, gave it to the opposition, and then in the end, a very optimistic long-range shot by Roche. At present, I still think, you know, you've got to get down the flanks because they're playing the sweep of Marcello, who's picking up all the loose balls, and Ian Wone and Steve Stone need the fullbacks overlapping them to start thinking the opposition, well, who do I pick up?
Here's Cooper. Chettle. Steve Stone's told the bench he's okay after that knock on the ankle, but Forest passing let them down again in that last attack. The ball was given away all too easily. Here's Chettle again. Bart Williams tries to dig one out for Stone. That's DeVoe sticking close to him again. Starts with Chettle. Well worked that between Roche and Roy. This is Julie. Roche is to his left. Maurice further over for Lyon. Julie again. There's Maurice. Touched it back to Duplass. Deflection on that.
Again, they've got quite neat build-up play like that, and then just you get near the Nottingham Forest penalty area, and it's sort of a long-range shot from 25 yards or more, which none of them have actually troubled Crossley, or shouldn't do. This is it. I mean, he's standing, got no real run-up, and he's bouncing, and quite honestly, Crossley had time to have a cup of tea before it arrived.
That's another comment, but we'll just stick with the play for the moment. This is Pearce, and it's going to be a goal kick. I mentioned that this is a ground that'll be used for the 1996 European Championships. The ground where Forest will play the second leg, the stadium in Lyon, has been earmarked as a venue for the 1998 World Cup in France. So the stadiums are getting better, even if the football isn't. That's Gemmell. And now Des Little. Corner given. Now a real chance for Forest to send the heavy men up from the back here. Chettle, Cooper and Pearce will all go forward for this. And they've got the tall figure of Silenzi in there as well, of course. Wone to take it. But they're packing the near post a bit here, Silenzi and Chettle. Pearce coming in, the goalkeeper, as Alan Hansen made the point, doesn't look comfortable when he's jumping for crosses. Obviously aware of the ankle, and that's forced another corner.
There's no one challenged the goalkeeper there, and he's still elected to punch instead of catch it, so he's just got to be put under some sort of pressure.
Well, let's see if they can do it this time. Coming in from the left-hand side this time. Oh, and Silenzi has made contact with a defender after a scuffle on the near post, and the referee has spotted it. In my opinion, that was some retaliation off the ball by Silenzi. He raised his arm, and you just can't afford to do that. Not when the referee's as good as this one. Started off with the pushing by the number 4, Laville, but if you watch the two of them here, just look at Silenzi, number 9. Look at that. There's the corner, and Silenzi's up with the goalkeeper. I think he was a bit lucky there, the Forest player. This is Wone. Offside. Offside. The keeper will be pleased about that.
He's probably telling his defenders, I heard the offside whistle, that's why I missed it on the punch, but I'm sure all of us watching would know that he was definitely going to try and make a connection. He didn't do, and all right, there was offside, but it just emphasises the point that they've got to get some quality crosses in, and if they do, then I think that's the best way of Forest getting a breakthrough in this match.
Crowd here trying to lift them. Forest, of course, having to live with that past reputation in Europe. We saw Brian Clough's face come up in that half-time sequence. And he sets some almost untouchable standards here in European football. Untouchable perhaps by everybody other than Liverpool, who of course won it more often than Forest did. Here's Gemmell. Chettle. And now Pearce. Salenzi making a run through the inside left channel here. Touching it back, but not to Wone. Number 9, Maurice. He's flattened a bit there in the centre circle. That was a hefty challenge. Maurice looks at the referee. It was Cooper who left him on the ground. Here's Roy. And now Salenzi bundles. Maurice is having a really hard time. He was knocked over twice in quick succession there.
Remembering Colin Cooper, of course, got the yellow card in the first half, so just as well the referee didn't think it was too strong.
Just makes you wonder that. Salenzi and Cooper have both got away with a couple of unfair challenges in the last 5 minutes. Duplass will take the free kick. Maurice on the chest. Here's Roy. This is Julie. Well read by Des Little. Oh, and that's the number 8, Devoe.
Just as well Crossley happened to be that side because of the little bit of work Julie here. He's just lost possession, so it happens that Crossley's near that post, and just as well because it was a great strike, and so he's able to get across to make the save.
Good effort by Devoe, and a corner to Lyon to be taken by Duplass. They've got Sassous forward again. This is Roy with the volley. Williams. Cooper. And Bart Williams has found Gemmell. Little is backing him up just behind him. Forest get the throw. Bart Williams is free here.
Defended well. Rua, the lanky number 6, stayed with Gemmell all the way through. They've definitely watched him make those penetrating runs, and I don't think he's made enough of them this evening. They are very well organised defensively, do get people goal side, and you can see how that perhaps frustrated Lazio caught them on the break and got that 2-0 victory.
Yes, having beaten them also in France in the first match 2-1. It was a convincing performance that in the second round. Crossley's come a long way out to thump the ball forward with his left foot. Going for route 1, as they say, which obviously meant Salenzi. And Stuart Pearce is felled there, and it takes a bit to knock him over. And I think he's fallen awkwardly. In fact, he definitely has.
This is a long-range shot for Devoe, and he hasn't got very far, about a yard to make that save. It was hit so strongly, it was just as well that he wasn't in the middle of the goal, because I don't think he would have got across, but in the end he saved it comfortably enough. Very powerful strike though.
Bit of a worry about Stuart Pearce, Trevor, on that fall. You know, he's not the one to go down in that kind of pain, and if we watch it here, it's a nasty collision, and it's brought on the stretcher, but immediately that happens, Pearce gets up. It's amazing what that FIFA rule has done, isn't it?
Well, Stuart Pearce probably thinks that's a bit of an insult for him to have stayed down that long. You're quite right, usually he bounces up, but because of the rules now, he's decided just to jog off, have a couple of smelling salts, and I'm sure he'll be back very shortly.
So just for the moment, Forest without their captain, and they have a free kick. He was fouled in the incident. Salenzi backing in. Chettle's up there. Devoe with a header out. Gemmell with a knockback. Roy is up too. And it's volleyed clear in the end by Stefan Roche. Pearce waiting to come back on the far side, but for the moment it's Stone. Appeals for handball against Devoe, who's given the ball straight to Gemmell, but then intercepted his pass. Pearce comes on the far side to bring Forest back up to full strength. Maurice to Julie. Deplace. Rolls it out to Maurice again. Up against Little here. Deplace. And Stuart Pearce soon back in the thick of it, but the ball given away again by Forest. Rouard for Lyon. And the collision was with Bart Williams. Play on again from the referee.
Rouard there trying to bulldoze his way through. Just before that, Stuart Pearce strongly back into the tackle, and as you see, was almost just going to try and bundle his way through 3 or 4 bodies. Might have been clipped by Gemmell for the free kick, didn't get it, and was probably looking for a 25-yarder.
Wone to Salenzi. Roy. This is Cooper. Now he has carried it well there, Colin Cooper, really well. This is Roy. It needs to be moved on again though quickly if they're going to keep the tempo going. Pearce. Cooper's in the penalty area now. He gets ahead to it.
It's good to see. I don't know, why Colin Cooper doesn't do more of that. He's quite comfortable in those situations, and it still means that Forest have got 3 defenders marking just Maurice up front, so it's not as if they're leaving themselves exposed at the back.
15 minutes gone in the second half here at City Ground, Nottingham. The UEFA Cup, 3rd round, first leg. No score, hip on the ankles, but Scott Gemmell retains possession. Bart Williams to Stone, who's moved inside now. It's Brian Roy. It's put Wone in a good position. First touch let him down rather, and away goes the Brazilian sweeper Marcelo, but only as far as Roy. What looked promising. Wone again. Came to nothing.
At least they're pushing up a little bit and getting 1 or 2 tackles in and not allowing Lyon to knock the ball out. Wone there, definitely his first touch let him down. Good back heel by Roy. Gave him the opportunity 1 against 1 near the edge of the 18-yard box, but he didn't take it because the first touch knocked him wide.
Laville with the ball forward for Lyon. Now a foul by Maurice on Cooper. Forest get on with it quickly. It's Gemmell. And that's a foul by Julie. And they take the free kick quickly again. But once more the French team get behind the ball. That was what the report said, that Alan Hill, Frank Clark's assistant, wrote out so diligently. But they do defend with everybody back. This is Roy.
He's got no one running beyond him, so just got to keep bringing it back because he's got no alternatives.
Yes, it's all a bit predictable, isn't it? But that's a nice turn by Bart Williams. He's given it away there. You almost felt he could have carried that a bit further, didn't you? I mean, he just seemed to want to pass it at the first opportunity.
I mean, I think we're trying to encourage more good passing within the Premiership. I think in the next step up, he's running with the ball. There was 20, 30 yards of space for Bart Williams to go, and there was no need to release the ball as he did.
Here's Rouard for Lyon. He's had a comfortable match in midfield. He spread that nicely. Moulin was the player making the run. Maurice, oh no, it's Chettle who heads out for a corner. Well, you have to remind yourself it was rather like this when Liverpool played Bromby. I know that was the second leg, but what Forest do have to do is just keep their wits about them at corners, because Sassus will come up and Rouard. But There's a man on the post here. Gemmell. That's going nowhere for Forest. Oh, Devoe got past Stone. He's found Julie. Little chip in. Roche is in there. Maurice is in there, number 9. But he didn't get the layoff right, but it's come to Roy. Trying to pick his way through. This is a dangerous phase of play. Deplace. In the end, Wone gets a tackle in. Funnily enough, this might help Forest if they can lure the Lyon team forward and then attack them on the break. They might get the space they've been looking for all night.
Not with a cultured forward ball like that. That was the old-fashioned up and under. And I think Lyon just growing a little bit of confidence themselves, thinking, well, perhaps we could get the away goal ourselves.
That is the golden nugget now in European football, isn't it? The priceless away goal. It seems to me to come into effect more and more. Devoe. I presume that's a goal kick.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think Silenzi there probably just showing his frustration. Let's hope he was anyway, because I don't think he probably got too many balls like that from the Italian football to chase him into the corner flag. Not having a lot of joy, I think we could say, that particular gentleman.
Roche for Lyon, looking for Julie. Header by Cooper to Gemmell. He looks left, he looks right, and then through the centre he sees Bart Williams, who's probably further forward now than he has been at any other time in the match. Gemmell again, Bart Williams again. Now they have pushed on here, Forest. They've got 5 players ahead of Stuart Pearce. One of them here is Brian Roy, but the offside flag goes up.
When Gemmell and Bart Williams had it the other side, why didn't Des Little, the right back, go? Because he is spare, and they've got to have people get into the byline, and Stuart Pearce knocked it in deep, trying to release Brian Roy in the channel, but it all is pretty predictable. I just think they must get more numbers forward.
Just shows you the goalkeeper's still worried about that ankle. The Brazilian continues to take the kicks, Marcello, but this one's going to come straight back because Forest have a free kick. Wone. If they could just get the breakthrough, Nottingham Forest, and if tonight they won 1-0, you'd fancy them really in the second leg on the evidence of the previous 2 rounds, which is why probably they're being a little bit overcautious about not conceding, which of course would sway the tie very definitely in Lyon's favour. Certainly the Forest fans will be hoping to see some sort of reward for the night's attendance. Silenzi's got 2 men to beat here, but he's kept the ball, or has he? Yes, he has, for the moment anyway. Now Gemmell. Into Roy. Play on. Maurice. Deplace with 2 men to his right. One of them here is Roche. And they've got plenty of room to move the ball about in that area of the pitch. This is Roy, Maurice, Devoe. Julie. Oh, it's a mistake in the defence. Chettle and Bart Williams getting mixed up. It nearly ran on to Maurice. As it is, it's Roan who gets back to make a tackle. Here he is again. Bart Williams, Silenzi. Oh, a bad place to give it away. Julie.
Wasn't that far away, Julie. Poor old Silenzi's still on his knees there. I mean, it was knocked up to him. He was by himself, the crowd getting a bit frustrated with him. But he hasn't got the individual ability to hold it up or beat anyone, so he has to have people join in. He can't afford to lose possession there and allow little Julie a sight on goal. Hit it low, and that wasn't that far away.
Crossley had the post covered, but just looking down the list of substitutes, there isn't really an obvious attacker for Frank Clark to bring on to change this. He has got young McGregor, who's a wide man essentially, or can play through the middle, but he's quite inexperienced. And so is the other forward sub, Steve Howe. Campbell injured, as we said. Lee injured. Collymore gone. But I do believe that McGregor will be the man in a moment or two.
Well, I think if you were Frank Clark sitting there, you think to yourself, well, where is my team going to score? And unless he changes something, and if McGregor can get wide and get to the byline, all well and good. But there needed to be a change. It was just going nowhere at this moment.
Here's Stone. Here's Silenzi. Gemmell. Now, Pearce has made a break on the far side. He's got Roan there too. Here he is. Roy. Still in. Well, they're going to have to start all over again here. Just pushing out the Lyon team, pressing the ball. The other half are just sitting in, defending deep. And Forest can push 2 or 3 forwards right up onto the edge of the area here if they want to. As it is, the ball hasn't come through.
I mean, the one player in the Forest side who can beat people is Brian Roy. But, you know, if you've got a dodgy cartilage, you're not going to be able to twist and turn as sharply as comfortable. And what he has done this evening quite often in these situations with his back to goal, he's just knocked it back to players joining.
Silenzi with the shot. And that seems to me the moment for Frank Clark to make his changes. He's going to put 2 on. And they're the 2 youngsters I mentioned, Paul McGregor, who's 20, and Bobby Howe, as they call him here, who's 22. Both have had a limited amount of first-team experience. They haven't... McGregor's been on as a sub in Europe, but they haven't had to contend with anything quite like this before. And the UEFA official is having something of a conflab with Liam O'Kane about when these substitutions can be made. I think... Silenzi is obviously one of them who's going to come off, and it looks as though it may be Brian Roy, Trevor, yes.
Well, I'm still a bit surprised with Roy. I mean, Silenzi I could understand. I mean, I was quite amazed. Silenzi was starting to walk and sort of asking Frank Clark, yes, is it me that's coming off? Almost as if he was relieved to get away from the pitch. And it's been a frustrated night. Brian Roy's knee, whether now they'll wait for the Manchester United game, if he's struggling that much, they might as well go in and have the operation. But it does show, I think, how fragile the Forest squad is when you've got 2 youngsters like that coming on in an important European game. Good luck to them. Let's hope they have an influence.
Well, indeed. Let's just reiterate, number 16 is Steve Howe, who's a Geordie, rather like his manager. And he played 4 games in the first team the season before last. This is his first appearance this time round. And number 12 is the 20-year-old Liverpudlian Paul McGregor, who, as I say, is more of a winger but can play through the centre, which I think he's going to have to do here. This is Cooper. Now Stone. Now both the newcomers are waiting in the centre. It's Stone for Forest. The sting taken out of the shot by a deflection.
Well, that was created by Colin Cooper coming in and bringing it out, and suddenly somebody was occupied coming to him, and Steve Stone found he initially had 1 against 1, and then coming inside was able to go past defenders who had been stretched.
Here's Little looking for McGregor. Across comes Laville. Well, the double change seems to have lifted the crowd a bit, trying to encourage the two youngsters. It's a good ball by Stone to Little. Forest having a little flurry here. Little. Offside.
Unlucky. At least there was a bit of movement on both occasions there. Des Little, the fullback, pushing further forward. There he is, just off, and the back line moved up. Look at the hand. Marcello, the sweeper there, he's organising things. He's been very composed and picked up all the loose balls and just shouted when they've needed to move up.
Still not too much to worry Pascal Olmeta, or indeed his team. We're coming up to the 75-minute mark here in the first leg. But I must stress that 0-0 would not be the disappointing result for the home side necessarily that you might have once expected in Europe. They've got a free kick there anyway, Forest. Now they can pile a few forward. Stuart Pearce has come across to take responsibility. Cooper's up there, so is Chettle. Climax, wasn't it? Retrieved by Gemmell, though. Now they've got a player free on the left wing, if he can be seen. It's Wone. And Howe's made the run inside, so has Stone. Header by Sassus. And that's turned defence into attack for Lyon. Here's Julie. Forest have got plenty of bodies back here. Lyon have only got 3 up. Roche. They're coming from midfield now. Roy. Deplace. Julie. Roy again, tees it up for the volley.
Going too far out, Roy there, the full number 6. Full number 10, Julie, usually plays behind the front two. They left one of the strikers out this evening. I would assume in the second leg they would play an additional one up with Maurice and let Julie come from a little bit deeper.
This is Little. Stone, back to him. DeVoe's going to get the tackle in here, but it's come back again to Stone, and he's through here. Oh, and it flew across the 6-yard box. An inviting cross, but nobody on the end of it.
Good play. Again, Des Little making the forward run, the fullback, giving an additional tacker. Gives DeVoe problems when suddenly he's got Little and Steve Stone together. And I just feel Forest could have done so much more of that. The crowd suddenly finding their vocal cords.
They certainly are. This is Julie. Let's hope somebody can find their shooting boots. Well, not that end by a defender. Steve Chettle slicing his clearance. Corner to Lyon. You mentioned the other striker. In fact, the guy who scored the other goal in Lazio, Azar Durian, is not in the starting lineup tonight. It would seem as if he's likely to come back for the second leg. Indeed, he could still be used here as yet. But it's a corner on the far side to be taken by Deplace. Roy gets up with Wone. That was Moulin into the top tier.
This was certainly Des Little getting behind there. DeVoe can't quite keep it, and Steve Stone comes onto it, clips it over the body very nicely. And really, as the cross comes in, just a vital touch, wasn't it, from Aletta?
Yes, he got a hand out there, didn't he? But in the meantime, He's got to pay attention here because Forest have got a free kick to be taken by Pearce, looking for Chettle. Goalkeeper starts to come and changes his mind. Header back by Chettle, looked promising. Bart Williams is there. It's still loose, and that's Wone. And now McGregor offside. Offside flag up.
A lot of bodies in there. Of course, they were originally for the free kick. I think when it came through, just beyond, wasn't he, Marcello there, and the flag's already gone up long before.
Marginal decision against number 12, Paul McGregor. Oh, look at that from the number 11, and Crossley having to backpedal. Well, Stefan Roche has tonight looked to me their most accomplished player. He showed an awareness there and a touch of vision from what, the centre circle? Yes, it is. That was...
Yeah, he had a quick look as well, didn't he? Just to check. He's noted Mark Crossley just has a little walkabout on his penalty spot sometimes.
This is McGregor for Forest, and the trip from behind. That's a yellow card offence. It's the number 4, Laville. It's red, is it? Oh, no, the referee's took the red card out in his hand, but in fact he's shown him the yellow. Or has he? I don't know whether he's calling him back.
I think it's just the yellow. I think I'm not sure that the defender is number 4, wasn't it? In fact, who he showed Laville, and definitely got the yellow. Then he seemed to get the red out while he was sort of marking it down on his card. But I would have thought there was a little flutter of the heartbeat in the defender before suddenly he realised it was only just the yellow.
So he stays on, but he has to get in the wall now because Stuart Pearce might look at this and think, well, I've scored from here before. He's sizing up the angle. Cooper's standing with him. Perhaps it's a tap to the right, I don't know. Gemmel's also there, but they're trying to get Pearce in somehow. There's the run-up, the touch, and the shot.
Not the favoured side, is it, for a left-footer? Cooper is not bad with his right foot, but I think we've got somebody like Stuart Pearce. You like to try and get him on target, but by moving it from that angle, I think it was going to be a fantastic finish to actually beat the goalkeeper. You see, they're just trying to get it wide of the wall there, and he's trying to whip it round, but he gets underneath it, and old Meta quite comfortably watches it go over.
And on the end of the wall was holding his shoulder there, perhaps trying to guard against a deflection, I don't know. Anyway. I've seen them hold certain parts of their body in the wall, but not the shoulder before. Anyway, this is a...
The mind boggles, Mark. I don't know how you think of these things.
Well, it was just a random thought, really. This is Stone. Time for one or two, I can tell you, but hopefully we're going to see a storming last 9 minutes here, all being well. For the moment, it's Olympic Lyonnais who have got the throw-in. Forward by Gemmell. Oh, look at this. McGregor gets the other side of Laville. Oh, Meta comes all the way. Oh, and there's a chance. And it's handball, is it, by Laville? Penalty. And he's going to go off, I think. He's already been booked for a foul. And I think the number 4 is going to have to go anyway, because that was probably a red card in itself. He's gone. He's off. Laville is sent off. It was his second offence anyway, but he stopped what probably looked a certain goal, Trevor.
What is the goalkeeper doing here? Look, I mean, he's done nothing except getting in his defender's way, and Laville tried to cover, his handballed it, and the referee must have anticipated the red card was going to come out when he brought it out a couple of seconds ago, but he's off this time.
I think it was young Steve Howe who had the shot on goal with the keeper out, but that was handled, and Stuart Pearce here with the responsibility as the player who's been dismissed goes off to a consoling pat on the head from the coach. It's a penalty to Forest. Stuart Pearce. Oh, the keeper saves it, and there's McGregor, and there's a goal! Paul McGregor! Forest are in front. It's taken a long time, but there's the goal that they were after, and the young substitute, 20 years old, the Liverpudlian Paul McGregor, gets on the end of the rebound. Stuart Pearce sees his penalty stopped by Olmeta, going to his left. It was a good save, but as the players came in, it's McGregor who's there first, and he steers his shot into the far corner on 83 minutes. Frank Clark suddenly sees daylight here in this European tie. One of his substitutes puts Forest in front, and now, Trevor, they play against 10 men.
But great credit to Forest. They had 4 players against 1 Lyon defender on the follow-up, and of course now such a crucial goal. It was a horrible, horrendous mix-up by the Lyon defence. I mean, Olmeta, the goalkeeper, got in the way of the other defender who was challenging the ball on the edge of the penalty. What he was doing out there, he hasn't got the height to clutch the ball. It then went free, and certainly then poor old Lavelle got sent off. Stuart Pearce greatly relieved, I'm sure, but 4 Forest players were following up, and Paul McGregor, well, wonderful night for him.
They're going to make a substitution here, Lyon. The number 12 coming on is Christophe Degeville, and the man who's gone off is Stefan Roche. They're 1-0 down. What an extraordinary day the goalkeeper's had. He comes out there, as you say, makes a real horrendous mistake, saves a penalty from Stuart Pearce, which in itself is unusual, and then, as the ball comes out, it's tucked away by a lad who's been on the pitch only for a few minutes. Forward by Pearce, and that's Roy. Well, he's going to write his name across the morning headlines, Paul McGregor, if it stays like this. And I think maybe our hopes of a storming last 10 minutes are just about to be realised. It's a corner. Gemmel's going to go across to take it. The Forest players are waving Cooper and Chettle forward. If they could get a second here, it puts a totally different, well, they've already got a different complexion on the tie, but it might be the goal that eventually sees them through. This is Stone. And now it's Gemmel. A lot of players on the far side of the area for Forest. Stone's cross, corner again.
As you said, on the far side, Steve Stone looking up and finding 2 or 3 spare people at the back post. He went for the near one, and they blocked that out. There'll be a few nervous twitches, I think, in the Lyon defence now in these closing minutes. They mustn't concede a second goal from their point of view.
This is Stone, and the referee is calling that back. Defender wasn't 10 yards. So they try again. Stone pulls it back to Chettle. Now Gemmel. And this is Chettle, and that's a dangerous ball, and the header back for Cooper perhaps. No, not quite. Pearce got up well on the far side. This is Roy for a Lyon team now playing a man short. Laville, who was sent off, will miss the second legs. That'll be another blow for them. He's a key defender. And that ball by Pearce has suddenly got Howe away. In the middle, McGregor again, he's coming in now.
Unlucky, but McGregor and Howe, just with their enthusiasm, have unsettled the Lyon defence, and suddenly they are just getting behind those 3 central defenders.
Well, give Frank Clark full marks there. Many managers would have settled for 1 substitution. He made the double change. This is Julie, which you can afford to do now because you can use 3. This is Maurice, and he's gone down injured, and Forest break again, only as far as Deveau. And it's Deveau once more. And here's Steve Howe. He's got Stone making a run inside him. Inside the last 3 minutes here in the first leg, but after all that went before, and not a great deal did go before, if truth is told, Nottingham Forest must be pleased to take any sort of lead back to France for the second leg in 2 weeks' time. A lead which they now have thanks to this man, McGregor. Bart Williams. Stone makes a forward run, leaving space on this side for Des Little. Howe Howe's in there. And Lyon clearly shaken in that 5-minute spell when they lost both a goal and a player. This is Degerville, who's just come on, number 12. And Julie. Had 8 defenders there at the moment. Referee says it was chest by Gemmell. And the whistles from around the ground are anxious Forest supporters who are quite happy to settle for 1-0. This is Roy. With a man over, that shouldn't be too much of a problem, you'd think. Forward by Duplass. Maurice making a run here. They've got to be careful, Forest. Chettle covered. There's Gemmell. And here comes Howe. He's done well. We're in the last minute. It's Wone. And here's Pearce. Unmarked on this side. McGregor, if he can be found. It's Wone again. It's come off Sassous, and there is McGregor. And it's been cleared by Degerville, and Forest are going to get a throw-in with a few seconds remaining. What a bonus the second goal would be now. Little. No. It's all Stone could do.
Well, the two youngsters, I mean, McGregor and Howe, just for their movement and I'd say just the enthusiasm more than anything to actually run and move, whereas Salensi was very static in particular, and he wasn't pulling those 3 central defenders and getting them isolated. Suddenly, Forest just sensing perhaps they could get the second goal, but I'm sure we'd all settle for just that 1-0 lead.
Well, they may have to, because it's now stoppage time. And Lyon may be happy to settle for it as well, although here's a break by Julie with Maurice going to his left. And Forest scampering back as Moulin moves up on the right-hand side. There's the cross. Oof, goodness. Maurice went for the overhead kick, and had he made contact, who knows what might have happened. As it was, Steve Chettle put him off a bit. Given away by Des Little. Shouldn't be doing that in the 92nd minute. This is Julie. And Lyon have not finished here. It's Roy. And shot just fading away.
Well, they're spectacular, wasn't it? As you say, lucky didn't make contact with the ball, and for Steve Chettle's sake, lucky didn't make contact with him because he threw himself forward, didn't he? But I don't think Lyon have been positive enough to actually warrant it or deserve the goal themselves. It was just a case of whether Forest were able to get that home one in. In the end, you know, the patience was rewarded, wasn't it? All's well that ends well, and they've got that vital 1-0 lead.
Well, I have to say that on their past reputation and on the 2 rounds already played, here comes Crossley to meet Julie. Forest would look at 1-0 at home and say that gives them a real fighting chance in Lyon in 2 weeks' time. There's no question about that in my mind. This is Howe. And what they did do, of course, was guard against conceding the away goal. And that's how it ends. And as a huge cheer goes up Trent side as the widest smile being worn by 20 years old Paul McGregor, who came on as substitute and scored the goal by which Nottingham Forest lead in this UEFA Cup tie. It's half-time, really. They go to France in a fortnight with what may prove to be an invaluable advantage. Stuart Pearce's penalty was saved, but all ended well thanks to McGregor. It's Nottingham Forest 1, Olympique Lyonnais 0.
Well, it's very heartening for the boy who came on there, wasn't it? I mean, nice goal and quick instincts when the penalty didn't go in, Alan.
Terrific finish from the boy. I think the manager did well. Substitution at the right time, double substitution.
Yeah.
Not a great performance from Forest. I've seen them play better, but a great result. I thought the captain was inspirational, the left back Pearce. I've got to give them 10 out of 10 for keeping going. They weren't playing that well. but the result is all important.
And now, as John Watson says, Jimmy, they have got a real chance of the last 8, haven't they? They can go to Lyon and do something, you know, you would expect them to.
They certainly have. I mean, they just wanted that goal, but they had no cutting edge, as Alan said.
Yeah.
And I don't say that the back group played badly. The 9 at the back did very well, but for different reasons, Roy and the Italian international, I mean, did nothing. And on that basis, I mean, well done the kids.
Thanks,
magnificent.
Jim. Let's just give you the other results from tonight, starting with the Premiership. Arsenal 4, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Bergkamp, Winterburn, Dickov and Hartson for Arsenal. David Hurst and Chris Waddle with Wednesday's goal. Arsenal, who were 2-1 down, move up to 3rd place. And Middlesbrough 0, Tottenham 1. Chris Armstrong is having a good time now after 72 minutes. Spurs climb to 5th. And in the Cup, first round replays, Ashford 0, Bognor Regis 0, that's the latest, there was a power failure there. Brighton 4, Canvey Island 1, a winning start for new Brighton manager Jimmy Case after he was appointed today. Bristol City 0, Bournemouth 1, Enfield 2, Newport Isle of Wight 1, Gillingham 1, Wickham 0, Sutton 1, Kidderminster 1, extra time being played, Wigan 4, Runcorn 2, Woking 1, Barnet 1, and Wrexham 0, Hull 0. Now, are we going to hear from Frank Clark at this stage with Ray Stubbs? We certainly are.
Frank, it looked like it was going to be a frustrating evening then. The substitutions really lifted everything.
Yeah, the 2 young lads went on and they ran about and showed a bit of enthusiasm. They got us a penalty and then got us a goal.
When the penalty kick was saved, was your heart in your hands for a second?
Well, it was in my mouth as well. Stewart doesn't miss very many. The keeper did well to save it, but fortunately Max got in there and stuck it in the net.
Overall, your sort of initial indications about the way both teams played with the second leg to come?
Well, there's a lot of football to be played, but I'm reasonably satisfied with 1-0. It was important that we didn't concede a goal. They made it very difficult for us. We possibly weren't at our best in and around their penalty area, but we were reasonably satisfied with the 1-0.
Frank, thanks for talking to us. Congratulations.
Thanks, Ray.
Now, Mr. Olmater in the Lyon goal played his part in the Forest success tonight.
I must give credit to my colleague for spotting that very early on and suggesting that Forest should play on it, but they didn't have the players up front to play on it until late
before the match. Well, let's have a look at it.
Well, he's come a long way in the first instance. He doesn't need to come. There's a defender there. He's missed it completely, and then they're always under pressure.
It's amazing.
He goes for the next one, but the defender's got no alternative but to handle it. And Laville gets sent off.
10-man penalty.
Yeah, well, he makes a wonderful save here. He's moved fractionally before the ball was kicked, maybe half an hour or so, but the luck wasn't with him there in the end. And the young lad was awake and sharp and ready to die for Nottingham Forest, and he put it home.
That's what they had been lacking up front, that kind of sharpness. You know,
the manager said they showed enthusiasm. They moved the defenders round about, and they paid dividends. Lyon have got to come out now in the second leg and try and attack. It'll be a different game completely.
You said Roy was going to be the key man, but it really wasn't.
Yeah, but I qualified that by saying that he was injured.
Yeah, lucky for you.
Yeah, well...
lucky for you. Anyway, they now love you here at the Forest ground.
Well, I hope to be back here in March if invited.
Exactly. That'll be terrific. And
Paul McGregor
they could still win the league. There we are. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Alan. I hope you enjoyed it this evening. It took a while for the goal to come in, but it came in the end. They've got a very good chance now of the last 8. See you for match of the day on Saturday. Goodbye.